Oh, very good. I have a bad feeling. But anyway, I give my best.
You'll be right.
Yeah.
You'll be perfect. Let's, when you're ready.
Yeah. Oh, hi. I want to talk about a few of my favorite books, or books that really touched me. So this is one of them by Rachel Clark called Dear Life. It's not a novel, it's a memoir. And it's so good. Well, Rachel Clark used to be a BBC journalist and be on TV and all this, and then she got a bit disillusioned with that and became a doctor. Her father was a doctor, and approached the thing really with, she wanted to help people. That's why she became a doctor, which is not that, yeah, it's a bit unusual in that sense. But anyway, she talks about how she goes through her training and how some doctors talk to patients and how it affects the patients. And then she goes from both sides about what the patients experience and the doctor side. But then later on she becomes a palliative care doctor, and it is just amazing. At the same time, she experiences with her father. Her father declines in health and ends up dying, and so all this she can draw on her personal experience, and is very conscious about what we need when we're at the end of our lives. And oh, I cried. I loved it. It's such a good book, and I wish I would have read that before my parents died, because when it's upon us, it's all very intense. So I highly recommend this book. It's beautiful, beautifully written. She can really write. So Dear Life by Rachel Clark. Loved it. Okay, another one. People who know me know I always rave about this one. Andrea Wulf, The Invention of Nature. It's a biography about Alexander von Humboldt, who was an explorer in the 18th, 19th century. He lived a long life. Oh, what a guy. It's just, I had no idea. I heard about Humboldt, of course. Everything in Germany is called Humboldt, but now I know why. And he changed how we see nature. He totally revolutionized our relationship with nature and influenced people like Darwin, Thoreau, Goethe, the German poet. Love Goethe. He was a good friend of his, and he was just something else. He went through South America and explored the whole place, and loved the indigenous people, which in those days I think was not a given. And yeah, you got to read it. It's so good, well written as well, and one of my top 10 ever favorite books. So The Invention of Nature by Andrea Wulf. Now something totally different. I love a good ghost story, and this is a good ghost story. It's called Dark Matter by Michelle Paver, and it's set in 1935 because she wanted to use the term dark matter, and that was only came up about that time. It's set in Spitsbergen, and a bunch of young guys go there for 3 months to record the weather, and a ghost appears, but it is just edge of your seat stuff. I just couldn't stop reading it. She's a really good writer, I thought, and I love all her books. She's got 3 books for adults so far, and loved it. So it was really literally at the edge of my seat, and I thought, oh my God, what's going to happen? So it's not like a gruesome story, but a very, it's very atmospheric and grabs you. So really good read if you're into the more dark stuff. Dark Matter by Michelle Paver. Really good. I have just read this book. It's just came out. It's called We Begin at the End by Chris Whittaker, and it's a thriller. It's a crime novel, and you know when you start reading a book and it's good, it's really well written. Well, this is one of those. I started reading it and just thought, oh, finally a really well written thriller, and it's a story about a young girl, and Her name is Duchess, and they live in this small town. She lives there with her mother and her little brother she takes care of. The mother is a little bit difficult. And this guy comes back into town after 30 years being in jail, having causing the death of a young girl. And it goes from there. I don't really want to talk too much about it, but trust me, it's good. It's a good read. And it reminded me actually a little bit of Gun Love, that I absolutely loved, by Jennifer Clement. So yeah, it's that good, I thought. We Begin at the End by Chris Whittaker. Good crime novel. Okay, something totally different that I came across when I walked around and looked at the poetry section. I found the Mary Oliver books, and she won a Pulitzer Prize for poetry. She was an American poet. She just died last year. And gosh, she is amazing. Reading her poetry just calms me and makes me see the beauty in life and in everyday things. She does these beautiful poems about nature. Actually, I bought one of her books about dog poems, being a big dog lover, and she was as well. And yeah, so I really love it just to read a poem before I go to sleep, and it just puts me in a wonderful space, which it's always very good, especially in those times. So anything by Mary Oliver is fantastic. So yeah, love Mary Oliver. We do have a lot of really, really good art books as well, and this one is one of my favorites. It's Albrecht Dürer's Complete Works by Norbert Wolf, and you might actually know his artwork, some of his artworks. He was a German Renaissance artist, and very, very well known for his incredible woodcuts. So this one is The Riders of the Apocalypse, and so in those days they were thinking the end of the world is near as well. And yeah, he did beautiful, beautiful not only woodcuts but other artworks, and I just love seeing all the different faces from hundreds of years ago, and they just look like us, really. Yeah, very, very interesting book, and beautiful, beautiful artwork, and yeah, love the Renaissance. So yeah, that's one of my, at the moment, favorite art books. That's Albrecht Dürer by Norbert Wolf. I'll do a very quick one. Oh, is it running already?
That's great.
Right. We have got this book here, which is by the lovely Erin. She is a local. She lives in the Byron area, and she is a herbalist for about 20 years. And this is just a beautiful book on plant medicine. Very beautifully put together. And you learn about the medicinal plant things, and you can, some recipes, or quite a lot of recipes, to make potions and lotions, and with beautiful photos. And because it's local, they're not plants that you don't find here. And yeah, it makes me really happy. It's a beautiful book. So that's Plants for the People by Erin Lovell. And yeah, she's very nice as well. So beautiful book. Highly recommend it too. Well, thank you for listening to my reviews, and looking forward to seeing you or talking to you next week. Okay, bye.